SPFL encounter of the weekend. It's Motherwell against Hearts as ever. It's live with us here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with your commentary team of Stephen Craigan, Craig Levine and Al Lamont.
Thanks very much, Richard. Welcome to Fir Park as Motherwell look to repeat the feat of Wednesday night with a home victory to ease their relegation concerns. Easier said than done against Robbie Nielsen's in-form Hearts outfit, who won 3-0 on their last visit here in September, and who'll be keen to keep as much daylight as possible between themselves and the resurgent Hibs in fourth. The teams are just about ready to go. Motherwell in their traditional claret and amber kit, and Hearts in their change strip of white top, maroon shorts and white socks. The respective captains Liam Kelly and Lauren Shankland are on the centre line right now, going through the coin toss with Richard's favourite referee, Don Robertson. And just about ready to go then, as the advertising hoardings are removed from the pitch. Motherwell pose for their team picture pre-match as they look to get back-to-back home wins, something they haven't achieved in the league all season. Just a second victory in front of a Fir Park crowd in midweek. As Stephen Craigan was saying, it wasn't a pretty watch, that one, but regardless, Motherwell got the job done. This will be a more difficult job, but if they can find the 3 points again, that would really lift them away from that precarious position they currently occupy. 9th spot in the league. Hearts, of course, third, as Craig said, quite clearly third best team in the country right now. Not only do they sit in third, they've got the third best goals scored column, the third best goals against column, equal with St Mirren, it has to be said, with 35 conceded. As we get underway here, and it's an early touch for Liam Kelly, all in black. He launches the ball up to the halfway line. It's headed back the way by Snodgrass and chased by Humphreys and cleared out of the pitch by Callum Butcher. Motherwell going from left to right in this first half as we look at it from the back of the main stand. And both sides will be looking to make a positive start. Clearly Motherwell, Stephen, got that great start against St Mirren, the early goal, and it really lifted them, didn't it?
Clearly did. You know, when you're a side struggling for confidence and belief within your group, getting that first goal can suddenly bring a little bit of that belief back. You know, they then conceded the goal, but they backed it up, and clearly that will have been a message to Stuart this afternoon. Go and start fast, don't give Hearts a head start, because they're hard to chase down.
Here's Mackay though, left hand side for Hearts, into the penalty area it comes, and sliced behind by Callum Butcher for the first corner kick of the game. It goes Hearts' way, 0-0.
And this is a test. You know, you look at Hearts physically, they're a big side. They'll send the centre halves up. They've got Humphrey, they've got Robert Snodgrass, who's got a wonderful delivery. So as much as Motherwell defended their box well on Wednesday night, Al, they'll certainly be put to the test this afternoon.
Robert Snodgrass comes out to the left hand side to take this corner, and he was talking in the week about looking for more assists from set pieces, but his delivery, generally speaking, is on point. Let's see what he can produce here. Left hand side, outswinger, almost onto the penalty spot. It's won by Butcher, knocked away by Spittle. Just outside the penalty area it comes. Cochrane for Mackay, and back out to the left for Snodgrass. Back to Mackay, still left hand side, plays it forward for Humphreys, left hand side of the penalty area, looking to try and get the pass off. It's Snodgrass who picks up. Devlin makes a move ahead of him. Still Snodgrass, still back into the middle of the park for Hill. Hill out to the right hand side for Michael Smith, 25 yards from goal, sends it back into the box. Shankland can't make any connections. High up in the air off Casey, headed away by Furlong, and then smashed forward by Spittle. Motherwell on the defensive in the opening couple of minutes as Hearts probe for the opener. Craig Levine.
Yeah, I mean, Hearts are on the front foot. They're in good form, and you know, I think they're coming here mentally in a really good place. I'm really intrigued to see how Motherwell do in this match today, whether they continue that improved form that they found midweek, because they'll need to contain Hearts today.
Yeah, they absolutely will. Hearts on a terrific run. That defeat by Rangers, they're only 1 in 13, won 8 and drawn 4 in that run, including their last outing against Hamilton Accies in the Scottish Cup. Although they weren't certainly at their sparkling best in that game, they got the job done, as Cochrane has it It's all Hearts possession-wise in these opening stages, dominating territorially as well as Civic knocks it forward. Shanklin back to Hill on the halfway line, right-hand side. Comes back in field to Civic, just inside his own half, on the edge of the centre circle. Out to the left for Cochrane. Kingsley's well advanced at the moment, as Devlin picks up in the middle of the park. Snodgrass out to the left-hand side for Mackay. Stuart Kettlewell out barking orders to his players, looking to close Hearts down. Humphreys gets to the byline, he's challenged well by Butcher. It'll be a goal kick as Hearts continue to try and find an opening, but Motherwell standing firm. And 4 minutes in, it's Motherwell 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting the role that Robert Snodgrass has taken up since he came to Hearts. I mean, everything seems to go through him in that midfield area, and he brings a calmness, Stephen. I don't know what you think, but I mean, he very rarely gives the ball away. He's so strong. The ball comes into him, he takes a good touch, he plays a secure pass, and he seems to be the guy who links each area of the field, and he's constantly.
I think the players trust him as well.
Yeah,
of course they do. You know, when you're under pressure, he always seems to be the out ball, and you're right, just relieves that any kind of pressure that comes along. I think when he first came in, he actually played like a number 10 role. I thought he was terrific further up the pitch, but he's just as good further back.
Yeah, he's adapted to that position incredibly well, hasn't he?
Class is class, Alistair.
Good point. And Robert Snodgrass is certainly that, and although his contract is up at the end of this term, I think that there are talks ongoing to try and extend that, and it sounds like both parties are keen to make that happen. It's been a good move for Hearts, but it's been a good move for Robert Snodgrass as well. It sounds like he's very much enjoying his time at Tynecastle.
Yeah, Stephen, I don't know about you, but for me, Snodgrass could play for another 2 or 3 years, because the pace has never been his thing. So the fact that he's getting a little bit slower, that really for me doesn't mean an awful lot, and I'm fairly sure he could play for another couple of years at least. It's
back with Xander Clark, more or less his first touch of the game. He launches it down the left-hand side. It's a good ball actually for Barry Mackay, who couldn't quite take it in his stride, and it's out for a Motherwell throw on this near side, about 15 yards away from their own corner flag, and it will be taken by Paul McGinn, former Highby of course. Gets the ball back from Cornelius and knocks it long. Spittle helps it on, but Motherwell haven't been able to get the ball on the deck thus far, and Snodgrass holding off the challenger. Spittle then touches it in field to Devlin, then Cochrane back to Kingsley, and Devlin once more, who was on the score sheet to secure the victory against Aki's a week past Friday. Just his second Hearts goal. As Hearts come forwards, and it's come off the head there of Paul McGinn. Will be another Hearts corner, and well, at this stage it looks only a matter of time before the visitors make the breakthrough.
Take it easy, Al, please. But just, you know, for Motherwell against St Mirren the other night, Craig, it was simplified because St Mirren played 3-5-2 and Motherwell matched up.
Right.
Whereas today, Hearts is slightly different in the forward area. You know, their two inverted wide players, Shanklin and Mackay, are causing them a problem.
Yeah,
they're causing them a problem.
Mackay with the corner this time from the left-hand side, near post ball, well headed away. And Snodgrass picks up the loose ball, knocks it all the way back to Michael Smith, who's the deepest defender, who in turn will play it back to Xander Clark. Inside his penalty area, takes a touch and then plays it up towards the halfway line. Hill just manages to flick it on, but it's picked up. It's a slack ball though by Butcher straight to Kingsley, and Snodgrass now out to the left-hand side for Mackay, just a couple of yards in off the touchline. Coming down the left, tries to come in away from McGinn, but it's good defending. Up towards Van Veen, and back with Max Johnston, who scored that fabulous goal, the second Motherwell goal the other night, and despite Stephen Thompson being dubious about whether he meant it, certainly the player reckoned he did mean it, as Obika sends it into the penalty area, harmlessly behind for a goal kick, the first Motherwell attack of the game. 7.5 minutes in, Motherwell 0, Hearts 0.
And there's the importance of having two centre forwards who first of all can play together but can also take the ball in. You know, Motherwell aren't going to dominate the ball this afternoon. They may have to play on the counter-attack with Obika and Van Veen being isolated at times, but when the ball comes up, they've got to take it in. They've got to allow Dean Cornelius and Blair Spittle to get in touch with them, to get them up the pitch. Otherwise, they'll be on the back foot.
Slightly heavy touch there from Devlin, almost presented the ball to Spittle on the edge of his own penalty area, and Motherwell managed to force Hearts into another error. It's out for a well throw in over on the far side. The Motherwell left infield, it goes to Cornelius, he flips it on, but it's straight to James Hill, who's playing as the right-hand centre-back in that back three of Hearts. Forward it goes from the on-loan Bournemouth player, but all the way through to Liam Kelly. We're debating pre-match these two goalkeepers on show today, Liam Kelly and Zander Clark. They've got every chance of not only being in Steve Clark's squad for next month's qualifiers, but arguably being his first choice. If it were down to you pair, who would get the nod right now?
David Marshall.
Yes, and answer Van Veen on for Johnston. The offside flag goes up against Johnson as he flashes the shot wide in any case, but it was a good move from Motherwell again. Van Veen showing just how clever he is, playing Johnston in, but a wide goal from Johnston, who just crept offside. He's obviously got an eye for goal right now.
Yeah, I think Van Veen's playing on the side that Kingsley's on. I think it's a little bit of a mismatch of strength there. I think Van Veen's a quick and physically robust centre forward, and I think he's deliberately playing on Kingsley being the smaller of the three centre backs.
It's also encouraging, to see Max Johnson getting forward, because sometimes when you're playing against someone like Barry Mackay, the instinct is to go and mark him and stay back as a defender, whereas he's willing to go beyond and try and get in touch with Alex Cochrane.
Yeah, I mean, the cross that went in the box 2 or 3 minutes ago, Blair Spittle should have done exactly the same. He had a chance to follow in the back post area. He didn't make the run, and the ball just drifted harmlessly out of play.
That's a missed kick by Toby Civic. He's knocked the ball behind for a Motherwell corner. He was trying to play it back to Zander Clark from a tight angle, and he just sliced it behind. Under a little bit of pressure, but not too much, and this is an opportunity now for Motherwell. Toby Civic will be doing all he can to ensure this doesn't end up in the back of the net after his error there. Spittle comes out to the right-hand side, 10 minutes in, no goals yet, but Motherwell just creeping their way back into the game after a fast start by the visiting side. Spittle from the right-footed, sends it in to the penalty area. Cochrane can't get it clear, it's brought back in towards goal, but ends up wide. The effort coming in the end from Butcher, I think it was Butcher who got the shot away, but a couple of yards wide of goal. Motherwell 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, it's just given them a little bit of encouragement in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Hearts overplaying in their own half, giving the ball away. It's allowed Motherwell to have a little bit of sustained pressure in their half, because the opening 5 or 6 minutes they didn't get a touch of the ball, so they just have to continue to grow.
Kingsley knocks it down the left. Butcher's there though, plays it to McGinn infield for Goss, back to Butcher. Definitely already in the opening 11 minutes or so, there's definitely been more passes made in this game than I think we saw in the entirety of the game on Wednesday night, Stephen.
Yeah, but you understand that because it was such a high pressure game the other night. I think getting that win just takes away a little bit of the pressure, Al. And I said it to Richard ahead of the game, there will be times you can't take a touch and make a pass. The other night they weren't doing it, so it's good that they've recognised that.
Civic has it inside his own penalty area. Motherwell just allowing him to come forward a couple of yards. Plays the pass, but it's a poor one. Casey plays it off Shanklin, then it breaks to Cornelius, and now it's McGinn on the halfway line. Just inside the Hearts half now. It's a good pass for Goss. Evades Devlin. Goss up towards the edge of the penalty area. Furlong in support, left-hand side. Cleared away by Hill. It was better for Motherwell in the last 5 minutes, Craig. All of a sudden, Hearts having to do some defending.
Yeah, and Hill took up a really important position there, just inside the 6-yard box at the front post, and managed to just get that ball clear. But that's the best piece of play we've seen from Motherwell so far.
Thrown in the left-hand side for Motherwell. Furlong preparing to take this one. It's his 4th appearance, having moved on loan from Brighton. Just as his opposite number in the Hearts side did last season, Alex Cochrane, now made that move permanent. And Furlong proves as good an acquisition as Alex Cochrane has for Hearts. It'll be a good bit of business for the Well. Throw into Hearts over on the far side. Hill throws it over Van Veen for Kingsley. It's a good throw, and Kingsley on the left-hand side knocks it forward to Mackay. He can't get a touch on it, but Humphreys comes across. Sliding challenge from Butcher. It's a good one. Took plenty of the ball. Van Veen gives chase, just too much on it for him. Zander Clark off his line and clutches that one and immediately bowls it out to Kingsley, who finds Snodgrass. Switch of play out to the right-hand side to Smith. Smith looking infield for Shanklin, but Goss read it and cut it out. Furlong forward, flicked by Spittle for Obika. 20 yards inside the Hearts half, back the way to the halfway line to Goss. Decent start to the game from both sides, it has to be said. Good ball forward for Furlong, left-hand side. It's a poor cross, way too much on it. It's come all the way out to this near side, out for a throw-in. But Motherwell starting to look more promising in terms of the build-up, Stephen.
Yeah, well, all they're doing is just at times just turning the ball around the corner and putting it in behind the Hearts back three. I mean, Michael Smith had his hand up for the offside. My initial instinct was he didn't even look offside.
He wasn't offside.
No, he didn't. You know, and he didn't look it. So it just shows you that Max Johnson has went beyond Alex Cochrane. Now Furlong has went beyond Michael Smith. So you can see that belief starting to come back into them. My only concern is whenever they attack, they're playing man for man at the back. And Callum Butcher against Stephen Humphreys, if there's one slip or one mistake, they could be in. So they've got to be aware of that.
Yeah, Humphreys is rapid, isn't he? As Kingsley plays it forward up towards the centre circle. Shanklin down to Devlin. He tries the first time ball, but he gets it all wrong. And Spittle will pick up left-hand side for Motherwell. Smith trying to get back. Devlin across there as well. Still Spittle plays it off Smith, and he'll take the throw in about 25 yards from the corner flag as Motherwell come down the left-hand side. That win against St Mirren was their first in 12 in the league. Much needed victory. They're currently 7 points behind St Johnstone with this game in hand, above Kilmarnock in goal difference, and they play Kelly next Saturday. What a game that could be. Again, not necessarily one for the purists, but highly important, you would imagine. But Motherwell can put a bit of daylight between themselves and Killie. I noticed Tony Docherty, Kilmarnock assistant, making his way into the Fir Park main stand earlier. Derek McInnes was here on Wednesday night on a watching brief as well. As Butcher fires it out to the Motherwell left. Smith gets in the way though, but Spittle wins it. Furlong can't collect. The ball breaks into the middle of the park. Cornelius looked to be fouled by Devlin. Don Robertson agrees. Motherwell free kick about 15 yards inside the Hearts half, and it's definitely been a better last 7 or 8 minutes from Motherwell after a rather slow start to the game.
I think sometimes it takes you a while to adjust to what the opposition are doing. And when you're a team who are struggling a little bit, you don't want to go gung-ho early on. You're almost sitting off the game just to try and pick out or recognise when you can go and pick people up and where you should be. And I think they've got it now.
Here's Devlin, right-hand side for Hearts. Quickly closed down by Goss, and Motherwell win the ball back. It's Casey picking up left-hand side of the back three for Motherwell. Plays it forward, looking for Van Veen, who was once again the talisman for Motherwell during the week for that opening goal. His 15th of the season. And you'd have to say that Kevin Van Veen's probably just as important for Motherwell, if not more so, than Lawrence Shanklin is to Hearts.
Yeah, I mean, has Shanklin touched the ball yet? I'm not sure actually. He's certainly not been involved.
From a Motherwell perspective, don't be tempting fate. That's all they need. That's when he's at his most dangerous, when he hasn't touched the ball and you think you have him under wraps, and then suddenly one moment.
Yeah, I didn't see the game the other night, obviously, but Hearts haven't really put much pressure on the back line of Motherwell in a pressing sense, so they're having a little bit more time on the ball to try and start the play and try and build. And whereas the other night I would imagine it was a little bit more frantic.
And you said, Stephen, you noticed that Motherwell were getting the ball forward a lot earlier the other night. It's slightly different again this afternoon, but here comes Furlong down the left-hand side as Motherwell look to build another attack. Plays a low ball in, he's looking for Van Veen, who wasn't really watching, and Sibic is able to clear. Spittle looking to pick up the scraps, but Hearts pick up right-hand side. Smith infield to Snodgrass, midway inside his own half, just over the quarter-hour mark. No goals at Fir Park as yet. Motherwell just beginning to come into the game after a good start from Hearts, but no real test for either keeper as yet. Here's Butcher turning the ball back to Liam Kelly. The Motherwell captain. On you go, Steve.
No, just on your point, I still think they do want to get it forward. It's just today they're playing one extra pass, because Hearts will have expected the ball to come forward first time every time. So when you play one pass, it may just make the Hearts defenders think we can step forward, and then the second one's going. So they're just trying to mix it up, but I think the aim and the target is still the same, Al, to get down the outside of them.
Here's Butcher, midway inside his own half. Good ball forward for Spittle on the halfway line. He gets turned and plays it forward for Van Veen, who rolls away from Hill and now plays in Cornelius. Out to the right-hand side is Johnston. Johnston first time ball. It's not a good one. It's over Xander Clark, but no Motherwell player waiting, and Clark
that's
able to gather.
That's frustrating. I mean, that's 4 crosses now that Motherwell had into the box, and not one of them has found a Motherwell player.
I mean, he really should have shot from there, Al, because he scored from somewhere like that the other night, and he said he meant it. So if he meant it, then he should just do it again.
Do you buy that? Do you think he didn't mean it?
I don't think he did. I've watched it back, I think he was trying to put it back in the air and he's mishit it, but anyway, listen, he said he meant it, so we have to take his word for it.
Yeah, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt still. Got to trust the man.
After his 2 crosses today, I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt.
But I'll tell you what, just generally, since he's come into the team, having come back from his loan spell at Cove, he's slotted in really well.
Well, Craig will tell you, sometimes young players don't play with the pressure, and they don't play with that focus of being in a relegation battle. They just want to go out and impress, and they've got boundless energy, and he's one of those.
Yeah, it's a newness, you know, it's this sort of just in the team and the excitement of it all. You never think about pressure when you're a young player, never at all.
Goss plays it forward, Spittle is a poor lay-off though, Devlin first to it, but Goss nips back in, and it's Casey sliding it forward for Cornelius, more or less on the halfway line, back to McGinn, square for Casey. There's less nervous tension, I feel, around Fir Park among the home fans than there was on Wednesday, understandably so. And their side have started this game relatively well, 19 minutes in, no goals. Things can change very quickly, of course, as we all know. Here's Casey as Motherwell continue to play a few passes. Casey comes forward up towards the edge of the centre circle. Square for McGinn, closed down by Mackay. McGinn plays it down the right channel. Kingsley's in the way, flicked on by Snodgrass, but it'll be picked up once more by Paul McGinn. Plays a short pass to Goss just inside his own half, clips that down the right hand side. Johnson keeps that one in under pressure from Cochrane. Cochrane's won it, has to play it though because it came off him last, and it'll be a Hearts throw-in on the left hand side as they come forward, just a couple of yards away though from their own corner flag. Almost 20 minutes on the clock. Motherwell 0, Hearts 0.
I think you make a point there, Al, that Motherwell made 7, 8, 9 passes in their own half, which is fine, and obviously they're feeling good about themselves. But don't get away from what you got you success the other night, which is maybe playing the ball forward, second balls in midfield, and recycling it and going again. So yes, it's nice and it's pleasing on the eye, but think what got you success.
Spittle looking to connect with Obika, but Devlin in the way and plays it out to the right hand side, and here comes Michael Smith charging forward. Back goes Furlong, but the pass is made to Humphreys. Humphreys on the left foot, off target on this occasion. Well, we know how dangerous he can be these days. He's really hit a rich vein of form. Stephen Humphreys for Hearts, an outrageous goal against Dundee United, and then the opener against Hamilton Accies recently, but he couldn't test Liam Kelly on that occasion. 20.5 minutes on the clock. Motherwell 0, Hearts 0.
I think he was just a bit too close in there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he was just 20 yards out, wasn't
he? Yeah, I needed to be another 40 on top of that.
It's the first real effort on goal. I know Callum Butcher had another one that was pretty well off target, but neither keeper has been worked as yet. But Motherwell certainly don't want to be giving Stephen Humphreys a sight of goal in the form he's in.
Just look at the shape of him physically. He's a strong boy, Humphreys, isn't he? And that's why I'm saying Motherwell can't afford to leave him 1v1 against Casey or against Butcher, because he has the pace, he's got the ability just to move the ball that 1 or 2 yards and just fire it towards goal.
Hearts throwing near side, Hearts left, about 20 yards inside their own half. Kingsley gets it back from Cochrane and then plays it back to the edge of his own penalty area to James Hill. Hill out to the right hand side to Smith. Cross goes Spittle to try and close Smith down, plays it infield for Snodgrass, back to Hill on the edge of his own penalty area and back to Clark, 6 yard box, and he plays it first time out to Kingsley. Closed down by Van Veen, but steps away well from him into Snodgrass once more, and he's fouled by Goss, who felt he took the ball, but he took the man first. It will be a Hearts free kick, quickly taken by Kingsley for Civic. Just across the edge of his own penalty area to Hill, closed down by Obika, but gets the pass back to Civic, and forward it goes to Snodgrass. Back to Civic, edge of the penalty area. Hearts just struggling to find a forward pass just at the moment, but staying patient, staying composed. Snodgrass though has given it away. It's a rarity for him, and McGinn picks up, and it's back with Butcher. Butcher goes back to his own goalkeeper, Liam Kelly. Midway through the first period, no goals to speak of just yet. Pretty even contest, actually, you'd have to say. It looked like Hearts were really stepping things up in the opening minutes, but Motherwell have come right back into it, and bit of a stalemate just at the moment as Kelly launches it forward. Kingsley just nods that back to his goalkeeper nonchalantly. Good header from Kingsley, and Clark able to gather. Craig, I noticed you managed to evade my question earlier about which goalkeeper if it's between those two, would be Steve Clarke's number one. Would you have a preference?
I don't think there's much between them, in all honesty. I think they're both very steady goalkeepers.
Here come Motherwell, edge of the box, it's Spittle trying to find room for the shot, closed down though, and gives the ball away. It's the wrong choice of pass there, and Shanklin picks up midway inside his own half and tries the switch of play, looking for Mackay. McGinn just lets that sail over his head and out for a throw-in. Hearts just not quite clicking as an attacking force right now.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, they started very well. Actually, the first 5 minutes, I thought Hearts were excellent. The fact that Shanklin's maybe had about 3 or 4 touches of the ball, 25 minutes into the match is quite telling. I mean, it's amazing, Stephen, what you think, but one win the other night against St Mirren, and Motherwell look a different team.
Completely, but you know, I think when you've been on such a bad run, it was clearly going to be, once they got it, confidence would come back, because they're not poor players, they were just going through a poor run. You know, we said it, they'd always found a way to lose a game. Suddenly when you find a way to win one, you think, right, okay, you can't wait for the next one.
The thing is that confidence, unless you're on a real run of momentum in terms of winning games, it can be quickly lost as well, and Hearts would surely come into this game thinking if they can get an early goal themselves, put Motherwell on the back foot, then that fragility comes back all of a sudden, and the crowd do get nervous again and get on the players' backs, but not being able to do that. Motherwell very much in this game, 0-0 it stands, almost 25 minutes played. As Motherwell have it, it's Casey forward for Abika, back the way to Spittle, who plays it forward, feeds it for Van Veen, trying to get away from Kingsley. The offside flag goes up belatedly against Kevin Van Veen. It'll be a Hearts, well, it would have been a Hearts free kick, but Don Robertson allows play to continue with Xander Clark in possession of the ball, and Hearts build from the back once more. It's Snodgrass back to Civic, sends all of the Hearts 3, plays it to Kingsley and gets it back once more, but midway inside his own half. That's a good ball forward for Shanklin. Shanklin's looking for Humphreys, he's not happy with the pass, and Kelly's able to come out and clear. He clattered into Callum Butcher. In doing so, Hearts pick up once more. It's Snodgrass advancing midway inside the Motherwell half. Well cut out there by Butcher, but it breaks for Mackay. Butcher in the challenge again. Don Robertson points to the ball to see he took that before he took the man, and Motherwell have possession back. It's good defending from Callum Butcher, and well, he knows the Scottish game very well with his couple of spells at Dundee United, but again, he looks to just have solidified things alongside Dan Casey, another new addition to the Motherwell squad, and they look to have formed a decent partnership alongside Paul McGinn in that back three, Stephen, so far. Yeah,
they have, and you know, sometimes it just takes a little bit of experience, Al, to go in there just to communicate with people. I think you can read the situation better. The older you get, the better you see the game. So everything just seems to be settling. You know, you touched on it there in Motherwell in their poor. I mean, they look unrecognisable from the side that played Raith Rovers 8 days ago. You were at the game and I was at the game as well. Completely unrecognisable. And that just comes from maybe a little change of shape, a little bit of belief, and clearly confidence from the other night.
Hearts have it. Right hand side, it's Smith. Shanklin's very deep. Gets it back to Smith. Snodgrass just 10 yards inside his own half, but Hearts can't keep the ball. Casey steps in and finds Furlong left hand side. Just under 20 minutes of the first period remaining. No real shots on goal as such, certainly not on target, as McGinn plays it down the right hand side for Johnston. Infield for Van Veen, looking for the 1-2 with Johnston. He can't quite reach that, but the Motherwell fans appreciating the effort there. Out for a throw in to Hearts on this near side, the Hearts left, midway inside their own half. Stephen Kingsley to take it. Only won 3 of their away games in the league, actually. Hearts 3 of 12, though only Celtic have conceded fewer away from home than Hearts, and that's 15 for Hearts. So slightly contrasting records there, you'd have to say, as Mackay loses out to Max Johnston and Liam Kelly dashes off his line to keep the ball from crossing for a corner.
So, and there's an example of when players are together and people are united, that Paul McGinn's 1v1 against Barry Mackay and Max Johnston's doubling up to go and help him. I'd imagine 3 or 4 weeks ago, players were almost just leaving their teammates on their own because you're trying to look after your own little piece, Craig.
Yeah, I do. I feel there's a solidarity here, isn't there? You can see that in their play so far. I mean, it is amazing that just one result can change things, completely.
Motherwell win it back again, a good area. It's Obika at the edge of the box. Goss has to come back the way to pick up the pass. Cornelius now out to the right hand side to Johnston. Johnston closed down by Cochrane, plays it back the way to McGinn with 10 yards inside the Hearts half. Good switch of play from McGinn to Casey, who can come forward. A bit of space for him to move into, out to the left hand side for the blue-booted Furlong. Furlong into the area. Obika lays it off. Spittle well charged down by Civic, and then Van Veen can't make anything of the loose ball. Good defending there by Civic. It had to be, because Spittle was looking dangerous there. Johnston can't move forward with the ball, and Hearts pick up, and they'll have a free kick midway inside their own half. But a good chance there for Motherwell.
That was the first decent cross they've put into the box. It was a good layoff by Van Veen. And I think Civic, you'd probably be better talking about his challenge rather than the lack of Motherwell to get a shot on target. I thought it was an excellent challenge by Civic.
Yeah, he's a player who's really come to the fore for Hearts this season. These last few months, really established himself as a first pick in that Hearts defence, as Shankland sells Snodgrass short, but between the pair of them they managed to keep control of the ball. And now it's Devlin crossing the halfway line, just slightly to the right of centre, checks back the way though, and the visiting fans who have travelled here in numbers, I'm not sure they're delighted by what they've seen so far. But here's Mackay trying to change that, plays it in, it's beyond Shankland, but Smith keeps it alive, headed away by Casey. Good defending from the Irishman, and Spittle picks up and plays out to Goss. Goss just clips it forward. It's a neat pass from Goss for Furlong, coming down the left hand side. He's got Van Veen ahead of him. Has he stayed on side? He has. Van Veen, the left hand side of the penalty area, cuts infield. Is he taken down? Again the referee points to the ball to say that was what was taken rather than a man, but it was a big question in my mind as to which was taken first. We'll get the guys' views just in a minute. The ball's still in play, Hearts have it, but that was Kevin Van Veen looking dangerous, cutting in off the left, and the sliding challenge came in to dispossess him. And the Motherwell fans were looking for a spot kick. Hearts have it, play it down the right channel for Shankland, looks up to see what he's got in the way of support. Not that much just at the moment, he has to hold on to it. Now he goes back to Smith, right hand side, infield for Devlin, edge of the penalty area. Shankland looking to get away from Casey, can't do so, Casey clears. And let's get the guys' views on whether Motherwell should have had a penalty kick.
I've no idea. No. It was very difficult to tell from here whether he got contact with the man first or not, so probably getting a chance to have another look at it would be.
I think my first instinct, he played the ball. You can tell by the direction the ball changes. That was my first thought. I'd love it to be a penalty, but I don't think it was.
Well, of course it will be checked. The ball's not gone out of play, so we haven't had any reason to stop as such yet. Here's Snodgrass picking up the edge of the box. Shankland's header off the post. So close to the opening goal. Lawrence Shankland within a whisker of a 22nd goal of the season, supplied by Snodgrass. He had to generate all the power himself. Shankland went across the goalkeeper and saw it come back off the upright. The ball's still in play, but Hearts a couple of inches away from the opening goal here. Still Motherwell 0, Hearts 0, just beyond the half-hour mark. Hearts have it back, but that was almost something out of nothing. Snodgrass creating the opportunity, clipped it into Shankland, who was unmarked, you'd have to say, and powered the header off Liam Kelly's right-hand post.
Yeah, I think Snodgrass did feign to shoot, and then he just clipped the ball into the back area. What was really impressive was the fact that Shankland managed to get a lot of power on the header from a cross that was carrying very little power at all.
Still Hearts have it. Shankland certainly coming closer to a goal than anyone else has managed in the opening 32 minutes. Cochrane's given it away in the middle of the park. Slack from him. Cornelius plays in Van Veen. Van Veen powering forward. In goes Devlin. Again, it's ball taken, says referee Don Robertson. And Hearts will come forward, cheered on by the away fans. A heavy pass from Hill and Michael Smith as well to make anything of it. Buys the throw in. And I think you can tell from the fact that the ball has gone out of play and play has restarted that there was nothing in that penalty claim, at least in the view of the VAR, who is Stephen McLean today. What was your view of it at the time, Stephen? You reckon it was ball taken?
Yeah,
first?
I felt, I think he'd skipped past James Hill. Was it Michael Smith was making the recovering tackle? And it was interesting to see, I think Van Veen was just trying to nick the ball and then wait for the contact, but Michael Smith timed it perfectly.
And Shankland at the other end. Liam Kelly was beaten, wasn't he?
Oh, it's typical Lawrence Shankland. For some reason he's allowed to be free in the box. Surely he's the main point of centre forward where you want to pick him up, but he just glides in the positions and just, it was a great header, but Liam Kelly went for it, but big let off for Motherwell.
I was surprised it didn't nestle in the bottom corner. It looked as if it was just inside the post, but I think Motherwell got away with one there.
It's a Motherwell throw-in over on the far side. We've played almost 34 minutes at Fir Park. It's still goalless, but the closest we've come to a goal was just a couple of minutes ago, and needless to say, it was Lawrence Shankland of Hearts who was the man on the end of the Robert Snodgrass cross, but heading off the post, and that's why it remains goalless here as Liam Kelly collects the ball just at the edge of his 6-yard box.
I think it's been a decent game. There's not been a lot of goal-mouth action, but certainly there's been good play in midfield. There's lovely little intriguing battles all over the pitch. It's two different types of shape playing against each other, so just watching sets of players, or watch both sets of players trying to gain the edge is good.
Kelly launches it long into the Hearts half. Cochrane returns it up to the halfway line. Humphreys can't make anything of it. Butcher, I think there's an offside flag going up against Humphreys. It just gives us a chance to nip down to our pitchside reporter Brian McLaughlin, who I think has seen a replay of the Motherwell penalty claim. Anything in it, Brian, for you?
It was actually a terrific sliding tackle by Robert Snodgrass. He just managed to get his foot in the ball ahead of Kevin Van Veen, and Don Robertson's got that one spot on. No penalty.
Thanks to our own VAR, Brian McLaughlin.
Brian, I better be careful or I'll be getting the job. That's probably very sensible from Brian. Sorry, I thought it was Michael Smith made the recovering tackle. It was clearly Robert Snodgrass.
It's not an area you necessarily expect Robert Snodgrass to be in, but I guess if you're playing that holding midfield role, you're going to have to make a few challenges here and there, and it sounds like Robert Snodgrass got that one just right to prevent Van Veen getting the shot away, because he was in a dangerous area coming in off the left as James Hill knocks it high in the air and up down the right hand side. Shankland just touches it back for Devlin. 10 minutes of the first half remaining. It's a Hearts free kick, 15 yards inside their own half. Cornelius catching Devlin, and the Australian gets to his feet. No real harm done. Came off the bench against Akis to get that second goal of the game after missing a couple. Went off against Livingston, injured a few weeks ago, but back in the Hearts starting lineup this afternoon. Kingsley back to Civic, 15 yards inside his own half. Can either side find an opening goal ahead of the interval? 9 minutes to do so. Back the way it goes from Hill to Xander Clark, just on the edge of his own penalty area. We've got highlights of this game tonight, 7:15, as well as a roundup of all yesterday's action in the top flight as well. That's on the BBC Scotland channel. Barry Mackay down the left hand side, plays it infield for Cochrane. He can't keep it. McGinn steals it, but only temporarily, because Kingsley picks up, then feeds it infield. A good ball for Devlin. Devlin 30 yards from goal, goes for goal, deflection, not too far wide. It's a good challenge in the end from Casey, got out to block, and Devlin's shot might well have been on target, but Casey's challenge takes it wide, Hearts corner.
Yeah, I think they worked it really well. They'd drawn the three Motherwell midfield players towards the ball. Cammy Devlin just stayed away from it. One simple pass took three Motherwell midfield players out of the game. So they've got to be careful. This is another chance for Hearts and Robert Snodgrass to potentially put a dangerous ball into the box.
Yeah, Barry Mackay over the corner just now. Snodgrass has gone to offer himself short, and just asking the referee to make sure that Furlong's far enough away as the ball comes in. Headed away initially, Cochrane picks up, can't make anything of it, and it's hacked away by Furlong up to the halfway line. Motherwell defending their own penalty area well. Michael Smith will try and return it into a dangerous area. Shankland just high in the air. Snodgrass wins the header midway inside Motherwell territory. Humphreys, did he foul Sean Goss there? Yes, he did. And it will be a free kick to Motherwell as Dan Casey and Callum Butcher make a claim to the referee about something else. I'm not entirely sure. I think it was something perhaps that took place at the preceding corner. Did you see anything in there, chaps?
No. Yeah, I need to get Stephen's opinion on this bit of interesting change that's happened. Do you think Robbie's hair's much better short?
I think it is.
It is, I think so myself.
It's just, see when it was longer, when he was doing an interview, you couldn't help but look at his hair.
Yes, I know.
So now you're able to focus on what he said.
The game's not been that bad that we need to chat about Robbie Nielsen's hair, is it? And I'm certainly not getting involved in any discussions about here as Motherwell come forward through Spittle. Down the left-hand side is Obika now, just inside the penalty area, left-hand side, lays it back to Goss. Goss gets the shot off, great save, Xander Clark. That was top corner bound, and Xander Clark actually gets a congratulatory handshake from Kevin Van Veen for keeping that one out. He admired the goalkeeper's work as much as he would have preferred it to end up nestling in the top corner. It was a top save from Xander Clark to keep the scoreline blank.
Ask me the question again about which one's going to play for Scotland. That was a wonderful save, wasn't it? It's full stretch and he just managed to tip the ball over the bar.
Craig Gordon-esque, dare I say, as the Motherwell get the corner kick left-hand side, in it comes the 6-yard box, headed away by Humphreys. Goss with the shot, Obika turns it in, and the goal will stand. Obika looked at the assistant to see if he was offside. He was only a yard or two out as he turned it into the net. Motherwell celebrate, it will of course be checked, but Motherwell have the advantage. 5 minutes before the break, it's Motherwell 1, Hearts 0.
I mean, first instinct was he was offside. He looked as if he was standing in his own in the 6-yard box. I have to say, it's a really unorthodox finish because Sean Goss on the edge of the box with his left foot hits it. I think he puts it in with his thigh or the point of his knee. And I don't want to be too biased, but I think on the basis of play that Motherwell probably not deserve to be in front, but they've been pushing and probing. They've had a few opportunities to get better balls into the box, and that could be just the lift that they need. Ahead of the game, not many people give them a chance, but they've really come out fighting for this game. They've been aggressive, it's been competitive, they've played when it's been on to play, and when the chances came along, it looks like they may have delivered.
Yeah, we're hearing it. It's a good yard onside. I must admit, I'm with you. My instinct was that he was offside, so it'd be interesting to see it back to see who was playing him on and where he was.
Yeah, I think there'd be somebody who's probably come out too late, maybe tried to clear the area a little bit too late and played him onside. But yeah, I mean, it's been a very, very even game up to now, and I don't think either of the teams, deserve to be ahead. But it's well done to Motherwell.
First goal in Motherwell colours for John Obika, and a very welcome one, and Motherwell get the first goal for the second successive home game. Can they turn it into a victory? So Obika again, brilliant work from him, knocks it back to Cornelius. Now McGinn. Motherwell playing with infinitely more confidence than they have done for most of this season as Hearts managed to clear their lines. We're going to get a word from Brian McLaughlin just shortly because he's seen a replay of the goal. It's him that confirmed to us that it was onside just when the ball next goes out of play as Spittle picks up on the far side from Motherwell. They lead by a goal to nil just ahead of the interval. It's Van Veen knocking it back to Goss. Goss knocks it back into the penalty area, cleared by Kingsley. Hearts on the back foot just for now, looking to come forward now in search of the equaliser. It's Mackay up against Butcher. Motherwell flooding players back. Mackay held up by Casey. Cornelius gets a challenge in as well, and then Butcher knocks it clear. Good defending from the home side. Smith picks up for Hart, plays it to Cochrane, left-hand side now, it's Humphreys. Snodgrass makes a run ahead of him. 35 yards from goal, Humphreys tries to thread it through. Goss is in the ways, and a good game, Sean Goss, as McGinn looks to try and find Van Veen over the top, but Hill gets the header down, and then it's picked up by Smith, edge of the centre circle, leaves it for Devlin. 3 minutes left in the first period. Motherwell 1, Hearts 0. John Obika with the opening goal a couple of minutes back from just a couple of yards out, it has to be said, diverting Sean Goss's shot into the net. It's going to be a Hearts free kick, which gives us a chance to head down to Brian for a description of that goal.
Yeah, the man that was playing John Obika on was James Hill. He'd actually stayed back to watch his own player, Kevin Van Veen, and indeed Kevin Van Veen was further forward than John Obika when the ball was played forward, but both of them were onside, and it was James Hill who played both of them on.
Thanks, Brian. 1-0 then to Motherwell. John Obika with the goal, former St Mirren man, getting his first goal for the club. Stuart Kettlewell, who's down there continuing to direct his players from the edge of the technical area. Will be absolutely delighted if they can take a 1-0 advantage in at half-time. Motherwell have it, left-hand side. Furlong just feeds it forwards. He pretty much knew there was no Motherwell player going to get on the end of it, but he plays it well away from the danger area as far as Motherwell concerned. Into the last couple of minutes of the opening period, picked up by Humphreys, left-hand side. He can't keep it. It's Obika on the halfway line, back to Johnston. Johnston into McGinn. McGinn on the halfway line, closed down by Snodgrass. Good ball winning by Snodgrass. He's fouled by McGinn. It'll be a Hearts free kick just inside the Motherwell half, a couple of yards in off the touchline. It's been a good first half after a slightly concerning, say, first 5 minutes or so for Motherwell, Stephen, but they've really come back into it and just edging it perhaps.
Well, possibly just a little bit if there's any kind of difference between the two sides, but certainly everything about their play is completely different to what it's been.
Great ball by Devlin Mackay, edge of the penalty area. That looked like a handball from Butcher to prevent him getting through, and that is what Don Robertson spotted as well. And it's going to be a free kick to Hearts right on the edge of the penalty area. Surely he's going to book Callum Butcher for that. It looked like he deliberately when he went to ground, put his hand out to stop the ball progressing as Barry Mackay looked to find room for the shot. I didn't see the yellow card being flashed there, but it will be a Hearts free kick in a very promising situation, about 22 yards from goal, and a chance for equaliser here.
Kingsley or Snodgrass, what's your money on?
Well,
either or, isn't it?
Snodgrass put the ball down and stepped back, and Kingsley went up and lifted it, reshaped it and put it back down again. So you can absolutely make your mind up. My initial thought was with Butcher, he made the sliding tackle and he put his arm down to protect his arm in the fall, and the ball was flipped back into his arm.
Possibly.
So I think it's a free kick, definitely. Yeah, I don't know about booking.
Yeah, you're possibly correct in that, Stephen. But anyway, it is a really good position for Hearts, and Stephen Kingsley clips the top of the bar with a free kick just a few inches too high, and for the second time in the first half Hearts are denied by the woodwork, and as the 45 minutes come and go, it remains Motherwell 1, Hearts 0.
Yeah, I think if it's 2 or 3 inches lower it's in, because I can't see Liam Kelly getting across to that. It was a really well taken free kick by Kingsley. He's got previous for this, of course. He scored a number of goals from that type of situation. It was very unfortunate there.
He never got it back down again. You know, the minute it went over the wall, it always seemed like it was rising, whereas previously I've seen him bend over the wall and it's had a little dip. I think if it had dipped, it certainly would have went in, but relief for Motherwell. I think they've worked ever so hard in the first half, and Stuart Kettlewell will be delighted to hear the half-time whistle.
Yeah, certainly will. We're into stoppage time, but it doesn't last long as the referee's half-time whistle goes, and Motherwell take a half-time advantage into the changing rooms. A 1-goal lead courtesy of John Obika, who 6 minutes before the break turned in Sean Goss's effort from the edge of the box, and from a couple of yards out diverted in for his first goal for the club. Hearts have had chances, and most notably Lawrence Shanklin hit the post with a header just after the half-hour mark, and just in the stroke of half-time Stephen Kingsley close to an equaliser but clipped the top of the bar with a free kick from 22 yards, which is why at half-time at Fir Park it's Motherwell 1, Hearts 0.
Motherwell versus Heart of Midlothian.
That was an absolute belter. This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
One programme.
Get it on, it is BBC Radio Scotland. I'm Brian Burnett.
Countless themes.
Those pop stars that maybe you were lucky enough to be at the gig and thought, wow,
I've got to let you know.
Tonight, revenge is what we're after.
These boots are gonna walk all over you.
We're looking forward to an upbeat, inspirational playlist.
I'm bulletproof.
Endless possibilities.
We talked about self-improvement. Paul said rip it up and start again.
Rip it up and start again.
You choose the music.
That's what makes the show good fun, because genuinely you never know what you're going to play next.
Get it on, Monday to Thursday from 6 p.m. on BBC Radio Scotland.
You're listening to Sports Sound with me, Richard Gordon, on a Sunday afternoon with you until 3 o'clock. Stuart and Tam will be on then with Off the Ball. One or two notes for your diary a little bit later today. 7:15 on BBC Scotland Channel. Sports Scene with all the highlights from the weekend's Premiership matches, including, of course, this game at Fir Park. Tomorrow they will be publishing round about 10 o'clock in the morning the verdict. Richard Foster and Stuart Dougal looking back over some of the key talking points of the weekend. Tuesday, you can watch Scotland's women in action against Wales in the Pinatar Cup. That's live on BBC Alapa, 2 o'clock kickoff. And then next weekend kicks off on the Friday night, Wraith Rovers against Dundee United, the Championship live on Sports Scene on the BBC Scotland channel. Still plenty to come this afternoon, of course. We will look back on all those games from yesterday at the conclusion of this one. And once we've got reaction to this one right now, the home side on course to make it 2 wins out of 2 after that horrendous run. Fair to say, Stephen, they grew into this game as the further it went?
I think so, Richard. You know, naturally there would have been a little bit of concern in the opening 5 or 6 minutes because they know Hearts are a good side. And, you know, I'd said during the commentary that if you go and try and play the way you did the other night, you could get picked off because Shanklin's a clever player, Humphreys is strong, Mackay takes up good positions, the wing backs are clever, Michael Smith and Alec talking of when they go forward and when they drop off. So I think Motherwell were just sizing them up and recognising where the spur players were, who had to go and do a job, who had to drop into Shanklin, who had to drop into Mackay. And sometimes it just takes you a little while to get into the rhythm of it. I think once they got into that and started turning the ball around the corner and making Hearts face their own goal, then they started to grow in confidence. And for the next 10 or 15 minutes, they were probably the better side. Hearts, I thought, wrestled it back into their favour a little bit just after the half-hour mark. And then when the goal comes, you can just see the confidence again becoming even more evident for Motherwell. And you know, when you consider what a poor run they were on, what they've produced in the last game and a half has been night and day from what they produced in the previous 8 or 9 weeks. So you have to give Stuart Kettlewell an awful lot of credit. Naturally, he's come in and he's tried to give a positive message. He's tried to change things. The players have to go and carry it out. So what Wednesday night and the first half today showed me, they are good players. They just lost their way. They just needed a new voice or a new message to kind of inspire them and get them going again. And everything about the game today has been good. You know, I'd said to you ahead of the game, I wanted them to take a touch sometimes and play a simple 5-yard pass rather than just always thinking they're going forward. And that's exactly what happened. They've recognised when they've had time in the ball, where their spaces, where their spur men are, and it's been a very competent performance. For Motherwell to get something out of this game today and possibly win it, they had to be at their best and Hearts had to be slightly off it. Motherwell have been probably close to their best, Hearts have been slightly off it, but because Motherwell have made them be slightly off it with their energy and their pressing and their appetite for the game. So Stuart Kettlewell will be delighted, Robbie Nielsen will be asking for a little bit more.
Certainly energy, pressure, all the things Stephen talked about, Craig, but it's the confidence, isn't it, the self-belief that looks to be shining through from those players after all those weeks where everything seemed to be conspiring against them.
Yeah, things can change very quickly and very often, Richard, they change on the back of a good result which was achieved midweek, and they're bearing the fruits of that today. I think Hearts have been okay. I don't think they've been at their absolute best, and that's quite apparent for the fact that Mackay and Shanklin have been pretty quiet. They haven't really had an awful lot of the ball. They're the 2 most creative players and I would probably add Snodgrass into that as well. But the Motherwell, I think, have been pretty good. I mean, I was down here, you know, the fixture early in the season, and Motherwell were extremely unlucky on that occasion. They maybe had a little bit of luck today with those 2 balls coming back off the post on the first occasion, and then the bar with the free kick. So they've got a little bit of luck today, and maybe they deserve that.
It's been a bit of a strange game, hasn't it? The first 30 minutes, I didn't make a single note. I don't know if you picked up on anything, but it certainly livened up from that point, didn't it? Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been enthralling, has it? But I mean, there's quite a cagey contest playing out here, and when you look at Motherwell's recent run, and then there's obviously the factor with Stuart coming in and auditioning, if you want to put it that way, to get the gig. There's quite a lot at play, and I think Robbie will just be trying to roust his team up a little bit at half-time and see if he can get them playing with a bit more aggression. Maybe Hearts need to go forward a little bit quicker. I think at times they have overplayed in the midfield area, and I do think that they need to play a little bit more directly to see if they can get at the heart of the Motherwell defence.
But Richard, I think, you know, on your point, when you're struggling at the bottom of the table, it's never going to be free-flowing and attractive to watch. You know, Motherwell had to make it a game where Hearts were uncomfortable, and I imagine the message from Stuart would have been, go and be efficient in your play. Don't take risks when you don't have to. If you can make a simple 5-yard pass, do so. The next guy can make a 5-yard pass, do so. But within 2 or 3 passes, the ball has to go forward. because Hearts start edging up the pitch and start pressing the ball then, so then you've got to make them think again and spin it in behind. So I think tactically Stewart has got it spot on today. Craig's right, Hearts probably haven't got it tactically right at the minute because they're overplaying. Motherwell dispossessing them in midfield. I think Blair Spittle has been very good. He's been the trigger from midfield of when to go and press James Hill or when to go and press Toby Sibic. Dean Cornelius beside him has got good energy. He wants to run forward. And Sean Goss at times when the ball has landed at him in midfield, I said to you out of the game, the other night I think I counted on one hand how many times he took more than one touch in the game. Today he's done it a hell of a lot more because there's more space for him to play, and so everything from Motherwell has been right. Now the challenge is to go and replicate that again in the second half. Nothing's won at half time. We spoke earlier about the strength in Hearts bench, so they've got absolutely options in the bench to come and change it. So Motherwell just have to make sure, keep doing what you're doing. The game's not finished at half time. There's an awful lot of work to do, because I think Hearts will have to get better as the game goes.
I think we've already got news of a Hearts change for that second half. Brian McLaughlin down pitch side.
Yeah, George Grant's had the call. He's now inside the dressing room. The player who I believe will be coming off will be number 14, Cammy Devlin. It's just not happened for him this afternoon. I know he's been caught in possession a couple of times, and that has really disappointed the Hearts bench. So it looks like Cammy Devlin's off and George Grant's going to be coming on.
In terms of the goal that came 5 minutes before half-time, it's amazing, isn't it, Craig, how to the naked eye it looked as if Obika had to be offside. He's a good yard and a half, 2 yards onside, actually, when Goss fires in the miss his shot, which he bundles into the net.
Yeah, and I've seen the situation so many times, and it's always a player being late coming out. That's always what happens in this situation. And I think Brian said that it was Hill, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's obviously played everybody onside. It was, when I first looked at it, obviously we're watching the ball, the shot at the edge of the box, and by the time the ball arrives at Obika, then it's too late. We've missed the player running out, and
yeah.
But the linesman and the referee have been spot on. And I hesitate to say Motherwell deserved the lead. I think it's been a fairly even match. But, maybe a lot of the bad luck that they've had recently has changed, and maybe things are going in their favour.
Well, it came in the wake of an outstanding one-handed save from Xander Clark, which prevented Sean Goss from giving Motherwell the lead. It was from that corner. They did find the net, but of course Hearts have hit the woodwork twice, through Shankland's header and through Kingsley's free kick, Stephen. So clearly showing that despite the fact they may not have been firing in all cylinders, they have got that threat.
Well, look, at too many good players in the pitch not to be a threat, Richard. When you look at that front three in particular, when you look at Snodgrass and Devlin, who had a quiet game, and obviously he's gone off at half time, but it's impossible to keep those guys quiet for 90 minutes. So at times you might have to ride your luck. You may have to take little risks here and there because you're trying to force the game yourself. So the challenge for the Motherwell back line is to go and do the same again and switch on. I mean, the Shankland one, because the cross came from the left hand side, from where we are in the main stand, it was shooting into the Davy Cooper stand. That central defender's ball watching and allowing the cross to come in and not recognising that Lon Shankland is free. I mean, he's the one player in the box that you can't allow to be free. So sometimes it's just about opening your shoulders and being aware of that. Dan Casey, who I have to say has been very efficient this afternoon, playing left centre half. I thought he was very good on Wednesday night against St Mirren as well. So maybe just a little bit of naivety of not, maybe recognising how good or how potent Lawrence Shankland can be. So the back three have done okay. Yes, they're going to give up little moments here and there, but it's just about making sure now, if you can get to the end of the game, you've got a clean sheet, you win the game. It's as simple as that. And I don't mean you go out and defend for the full second half and try and get the clean sheet and think about defending all the time. But if you're efficient in your job and everyone tracks their runners and does the hard work, there's 3 points there if you do it right.
Stephen, what are you making of Max Johnson? Saw him in the first half of the season. He was on loan, obviously, Cove, where I also work these days. Just played 11 games for us, but he was absolutely outstanding. You could see that he was a player who was ready to make that step up. Seems to have settled in pretty well since getting the call for the first team.
Well, you said that his form is excellent at Cove. He's just continued that form on, Richard. He really has. I love his mentality of he wants to get forward. He's not a centre half or a defensive full-back playing in a wing-back area. He's an attacking right full-back in the back four, and he's certainly an attacking wing-back on the right-hand side. So at every opportunity, he wants to get forward. And do you know what? Today's probably a learning curve for him as well. Playing against good players, against Alex Cochrane and against Barry Mackay, because Barry Mackay is cheating at times. Cheating in the respect of that when the ball goes forward for Motherwell, he's not tracking back. So young Johnson's got a choice to make. Does he stay with Barry Mackay, or does he gamble into the box and does he go and play on Alex Cochrane? and he's gambling and going and playing on Alex Scotland. He's aware of what's behind him, but he's putting that responsibility onto Paul McGinn to come and fill the gap that he leaves. So he's not always thinking about defensive, he's thinking about forward. On the ball, he's been decent, he's ticked the game over, so he's fitted seamlessly in. And we spoke about it during the game, he's got no fear. You know, he's not getting into the game thinking, well, we're a team under pressure, I'm scared to take a touch. He's making good decisions of when to take a touch and make a pass, and when to flick it around the corner and put it down the side. So everything about his game has been good so far, and when you're a young man playing in a type of environment like this against good players, it's about concentration. It's about not thinking you've mastered the game and taking a touch when you shouldn't and making a wrong choice. So it'll be interesting to see how he moves on in the second half, but certainly he's been very, very good.
And with a lot depend, Craig, on the mentality of these Motherwell players. I appreciate Hearts are the stronger side. I mean, the league table will show you that, and more often than not you talk about it actually being down to the superior side and how they approach it. But actually, if Motherwell can continue to cause the kind of problems for Hearts that they're doing, rather than retreat back into their shell and almost try to preserve what they have, is that the balancing act now?
It's a danger. It's a danger. I mean, players who have been under pressure, particularly defenders, Richard, they often think that the closer they get to their own goal, the safer things become. And that is not the case, trust me. And you know, I'll be pretty sure that if they do start to deepen, then Stuart will be out in the touchline, letting them know that they need to squeeze up the park, they need to keep their units close together and be difficult to play through. The question now is, it's all up to Hearts, isn't it? They've got to make the running now, and maybe have to take some chances. It would indicate to me that Robbie's prepared to do that by taking off Cammy Devlin and putting George Grant on. He's a more attacking player, so that might open the game up a little bit, and it might mean that Motherwell do get other opportunities as well.
Richard, sorry, just on that, I mean, there does come a time when, as a defender and a manager and a team, you think, well, we're 5 minutes from the end, we may have to drop off, we're under pressure, we're under the cosh, you've got to defend your box, but not from the 46th minute. You know, that's when the big risk comes in. So that mentality and mindset may change as the game goes, but certainly for the opening part of it, you go and try and get the second goal, you maintain the standards you set in the first half, but then you may have to adapt as the minutes progress.
I think by the sound of things, the players starting to emerge at Fir Park. Remember the highlights of this one and all the rest of the Premiership action tonight at 7:15 from the BBC Scotland channel. Immediately after us at 3 o'clock, it'll be Stuart and Tam with Off the Ball. They'll be looking forward to hearing from you for a couple of hours. Some great fun, great entertainment to come with Off the Ball, and hopefully great entertainment in the second half of this final Premiership fixture of the weekend. Motherwell leading Hearts by 1-0 thanks to John Obikus. First for the club, it's full live second half commentary with Stephen Craigan, Craig Levine and Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Rich. Yeah, confirmation of the news that Brian McLaughlin brought us during that half-time interval that George Grant is on for the second half in place of Cam Devlin, as Motherwell gets back underway, leading by 1-0 going into this second half and looking for a second successive home victory, and just a fifth as Van Veen curls it all the way. Spittle to second goal for Motherwell. Incredible scenes at the start of this second half. Van Veen curled it in from the left hand side, everyone left it, it came back off the post, and there was Spittle from 8 yards to rattle in the rebound. It's Motherwell 2, Hearts 0.
Yeah, it was a wonderful ball into the box by Van Veen. I mean, it was very, very difficult for any of the defenders to get to that, but it just required the slightest of touches from any Motherwell player, and that's exactly what happened. The ball hits the post, comes out, and I think there was going to be a penalty awarded anyway, because Kingsley had a hold of one of the Motherwell players, 2 hands on his jersey, so even if the ball hadn't gone in the back of the net, I'm convinced it would have been a penalty.
I think it was Dean Cornelius was trying to get away. I think it was Stephen Kingsley or Toby Sevick, I wasn't too sure which one it was, who was trying to tap the ball into the back of the net, and credit to Don Robertson, he waited and waited until Blair Spittle put the ball into the net, then he gave the goal. Craig spot on. If he hadn't given the goal, there was going to be a penalty and a red card. So Hearts still stay at 11, but what a start to the second half. I mean, we spoke about this, about being a potential addition, a second addition for Stuart Kettle. Well, I don't want to go too early, but he certainly put himself in a good position, and the players have got themselves in a good position. However, we spoke about not defending, leading, dropping off. Keep being aggressive, be proactive in the game.
Blair Spittle with a 4th goal of the season as Hearts look to respond. Snodgrass forward for Shanklin into the 6-yard box. Humphreys is in there, but he can't make a connection, and it's a goal kick only for Motherwell. but a lightning start to the second half, as Kevin Van Veen's ball into the box caused consternation in the Hearts defence, back off the upright. Blair Spittle picking up the extras 20 seconds into the second half, and Motherwell with a 2-goal advantage.
And I think he got the initial flick. Blair Spittle, he flicked it onto the post from the edge of the edge of the 18-yard box, and then when it came back off the post, he reacted quickest. Dean Cornelius tried to react, but eventually Blair Spittle put it in, and they put themselves in a really strong position. But the one thing you can say about this Hearts side, because of what, 1 defeat and 13 coming into this, you can't write them off.
Certainly not. I'm sure Motherwell won't be doing that, they won't be making that mistake, but they have given themselves a bit of a cushion, as Mackay's well challenged by Goss, but it breaks for Shankland. Shankland at the edge of the box, goes for goal, well over the top from Shankland. The build-up play from Shankland was brilliant to create the opportunity for himself, but just when he pulled the trigger, he lacked the composure he so often has, and it's way off target in the end from the striker, and it remains 48 minutes in, Motherwell 2, Hearts 0.
Most un-Shankland-like. You know, when you see him popping the ball through the Motherwell player's legs, getting into the D at the edge of the 18-yard box, generally expect the ball to be nestling in the back of the net, and that was a wild strike from Shankland, well over the bar, most unlikely. Just looking at a little tactical change from Robbie Nielsen. I think he's now gone with the front two, isn't he? Humphreys and Shankland, and Barry Mackay, rather than playing out on the left-hand side, he's going to play as a number 10, just to try and pose the Motherwell centre-halves a little bit of a problem. But you're spot on about Shankland. I was looking for him just to curl it into the bottom corner, in that left-hand corner, away to our right-hand side in front of the Hearts fans. So a let-off from Motherwell.
There's a poor back pass from Hill, and Xander Clark has to race out to ensure Max Johnston, who was the furthest Motherwell player forward, couldn't latch onto it, as Hearts play a dicey game at the back. Sibic again is giving it away to Obika. Obika threads it through, too much on it for Van Veen, who can't believe it as Xander Clark rushes out. But within a space of 60 seconds, Hearts almost presenting Motherwell twice with a third goal.
Certainly livened up, hasn't it?
And that was a weighted pass from John Obika. If he had made that pass and got the weighted spot on, Van Veen was through one-on-one.
And you would certainly back him in that position. And Obika just too heavy with the pass. Hearts at the back just looking a little bit ropey at the moment, at the start of the second half particularly. Motherwell pick up possession in the midfield area. Goss, who's had a good game on the ball, particularly so far, plays it down the right, forcing Kingsley back the way. Good pass back, that one to Xander Clark. And now it's Hill on the edge of his own penalty area. Infield for Sibic, midway inside his own half, looking for an option ahead of him, and it's George Grant who picks up possession onto the chest of Humphreys, comes back to Grant. Grant then clips it forward for Shankland, who's borderline offside, but play continues. Right hand side, it's Shankland into Humphreys, edge of the penalty area. Shankland still again is available, he plays it off for long. It will be a Hearts corner. 2-0 they trail. They can do with a goal back quickly.
And he looks more natural in that centre forward position, doesn't he? Ask you. He looks much more natural.
The difference from your point of view.
He can run from central out to wide as opposed to stuck out in that right hand side, so he's made a big difference, and that's why Hearts are on the front foot.
Snodgrass to take the corner from the right hand side for Hearts, left footed, swings into the 6-yard box. It was won by the head of a Hearts player. It was Kingsley who met it inside the 6-yard box, but it was way off target again, this time from Kingsley. And
that's a brilliant chance, Al.
Yeah,
brilliant chance. He's inside the 6-yard box, middle of the goals. All he needs to do is make reasonable contact and direct the ball towards the goals, and I think that the pace that was on the corner, I'm sure it would have nestled in the back of the net.
He just needs to guide it. He doesn't need to generate any more power or move his neck muscles. He just needs, you're right, just needs to make contact with it and put it on target, and it would end up in the back of the net.
Long ball through, Van Veen giving chase, Xander Clark out of his goal, heads it down to George Grant, and again Hearts get away with one there as Obika picks up good strength from him, feeds it to Cornelius, 25 yards out, goes for goal, and it took a deflection, and it will be a Motherwell corner, and the home fans thoroughly enjoying what they're seeing right now.
Well, I know Richard said at half-time in the opening half an hour of the first half he didn't make any notes. Well, he certainly made plenty in the opening 6.5 minutes of the second half, and I think the second goal has probably forced Hearts' hand even more to commit men forward, which is going to open up spaces.
Yeah, and Motherwell in a great position here, because if Hearts do overcommit, which there's every chance that they might here, then, and I think that Motherwell do have the firepower to score. Yeah, this is intriguing, isn't it?
Motherwell corner, right hand side. Cross goes James Furlong to take it, left-footed. In-swinger, near post balls swept away by Humphreys. Out for a throw-in, way over the roof of the stand over on the far side. We'll need a new ball on.
That left foot of his is deadly, isn't it?
Effective in that occasion.
If you get onto that roof, Alistair, I played about 400 games here. You'll probably find about 138 footballs up there. I used to call them passes, some people called them clearances, but there was certainly plenty put up there, believe me.
Is it a flat roof up? Or does it not, they not roll over the other side, no? Into the school playground?
It's reasonably flat. I think if it bounces, it can bounce itself off the other side, but I don't think it's got a roll.
Hope it hasn't damaged your flash car or in the car park over there.
You must be talking to Craig, because it's certainly not me you're talking to, the flash
Nor
cars.
me.
Hearts throw-in over on the far side. On the left, as Hearts try to come forward, they trail by 2-0. 8 minutes played in the second period. Motherwell looking good, but I know that their fans won't want me to speak too soon, but they have the edge certainly here in this game so far, as Mackay picks up possession at the edge of his own penalty area, feeds it forwards. It's Humphreys just inside the Motherwell half, looking for the run of Shanklin. Off his line comes Liam Kelly, well read from the Motherwell goalkeeper and captain, and he knocks it long, and Xander Clark will pick up possession.
Humphreys missed the trick there, and he had his head up. He could have played Shanklin then. He put his head down, missed the run, and the opportunity was gone.
Here is Shanklin just inside the Motherwell half, trying to squeeze it forward. He was dragged back before he tried to play the pass, and the free kick is given to Hearts just inside the centre circle. The wind seems to have lifted even further in this second half. Pretty blustery out there. Seems to be, judging by the flags over on the far side, as if it's at Hearts back in this second half, as Snodgrass is bundled to the ground, and Hearts will get another free kick just inside the Motherwell half, quickly taken. They're in a hurry now, trailing by 2-0 with 55 minutes almost played. Cochran into Humphreys, out to the left hand side. Kingsley making an advance down the left, plays it off Paul McGinn, I think it was, and it will be a Hearts corner on their left as they look for a way back into the game. And Barry Mackay will trot across to that far side, the Hearts left, to take this one right-footed. Plenty of time certainly. If Hearts can get a goal back, they will back themselves to go and potentially even turn the whole thing round, certainly to get themselves level, but they need a goal back initially. Mackay's ball into the 6-yard box. There will be another corner. James Hill felt he was being pulled there inside the 6-yard box. Referee not particularly interested in those claims, as he points out for another corner to be taken by Barry Mackay. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Cochran offers himself short. Don Robertson, I think, just holding play up, so perhaps there is a check going on. James Hill, as I say, was claiming he was being pulled. Don Robertson holding play up now indicates that play can resume though. Mackay ball flicked on James Hill, and it's saved on the line by Liam Kelly as Civic poked it goalwards at the back post, getting on the end of James Hill's flick, and Kelly did really well to get across his goal to keep that one out, and it remains Motherwell 2, Hearts 0.
Yeah, I thought Civic did quite well to reach that actually. Thrust it back across the face of the goal. I think it was going in, and Kelly's made a good save, and I think it was quite fortunate actually. It was a really good chance for Hearts.
I think he might have been at full stretch, Civic, so he couldn't generate enough power to get it past Liam Kelly, which meant he could cover the 2 or 3 yards he had to get across.
Certainly a decent opportunity for Hearts to pull one back, but still it stands 2-0 as the sun comes out at Fir Park. It's not to say that it's remotely warm as Hearts give the ball away. It's a rather poor pass from Barry Mackay. Humphreys will go and try and close down Liam Kelly over on the far side as he gets the ball clear. Obika beaten in the jump by Kingsley. It's Snodgrass picking up, trying to hold off Cornelius. Cornelius badgering the Hearts back line. Civic plays it back to Clark. Clark slices it out of to the right hand side. Smith can't keep it in, and you can hear the cheers of the home fans. Our outgoing Chief Executive Alan Burrows is on his feet in the director box. I think this is his last home game before he departs for Pittodrie in his new role up at Aberdeen, and his new club, like his old club, looking for a new manager, but I dare say his old club might have found a new manager. If this performance is anything to go by, Zander Clark clears from hand, looking to pick out Humphreys, but brilliant play by him again, not only intercepting the ball forward but stepping away from two challenges. Now finds Obika with the pass, back to Goss, McGinn once more, 30 yards from goal, sends it back into the area, poor attempt to clearance from Civic. Van Veen lays it back to Spittle, his shot is blocked by Grant, back into the box it comes, Obika, and just tried to squeeze that through for Max Johnston, pass was cut out. Cochrane gives it away. He thought the player outside of him had made a run, and has to try and go and keep it in himself, can't do so. Motherwell throw, 58 minutes on the clock, Motherwell 2, Hearts 0.
Well, Motherwell are completely re-energised from where they've been. You know, you can hear the fans around the stadium cheering Dean Cornelius, who actually pressed 3 different players and forced Zander Clark to kick it out of the pitch. And it's all they want sometimes, football supporters, plenty of effort, plenty of desire, show you have a passion for what you're trying to do. And sometimes when confidence is low, it looks like you're not trying, you're just a bit fearful to try things. However, this afternoon, everything has been right for them so far.
Hearts going to make a triple change as Van Veen is flagged offside, so that gives us a chance to find out from Brian McLaughlin who at least who the players coming on are.
Yeah, Robbie Nielsen not happy at all down here, so the triple change is going to happen. Nat Atkinson, Alan Forrest and Garang Kuol are going to be the players who are coming on. The board just about ready to go up, Al, as to who's going to be replaced. George Grant coming over, it won't be him obviously. First player coming off will be Michael Smith. I would imagine it's Alan Forrest, the player coming on for him. James Hill has also come over. Again, I'm not sure if James Hill is actually the player who's going to be replaced. It does look as if Stephen Humphreys is also coming over. Indeed, it's number 19, Alex Cochrane, is coming over. We spoke about this a few weeks ago, Al. There's so many changes happening in a one. James Hill does look now as if it's going to be the third and final player who's coming off. Yes, it is. James Hill is off. So Smith's off, Alex Cochrane's off, Stephen Humphreys, I think, is also off, and Atkinson, Forrest and Kuol, the players coming on.
Thanks, Brian. So needs must for Robbie Nielsen, I guess, Craig, because it's getting to the point where they desperately need to try and change the flow of the game.
Yeah, he has to do something. 2-0 down away from home. There's still enough time for Hearts to get back into this match, but they need to do something fairly soon.
And
has Alec Cochrane gone off and he's not supposed to go off? Lawrence Shanklin just realised they're playing with 10 men. I wonder why he was speaking to the referee.
That's brilliant. Alex Cochrane had gone off on the far side. He was walking round the pitch when he's waved back on by Lawrence Shanklin. A complete breakdown in communication there. And Alex Cochrane is back on the field to play. Good spot, Craigs. I have to say, I didn't notice that myself until you flagged it.
We've got a back 4 Hearts by the looks of things.
Here's Garang Kuol, one of the players just been introduced. He's on his side, a free kick out on the far side.
And the reason why that happened is Lawrence Shanklin was trying to work out the shape in his head, and he must have been counting his players and thinking, we're only 10 men in the pitch.
I was doing the same thing, but he's a lot quicker than me.
Yep, so Hearts did make the 3 changes, and it's Hill, Humphreys and Smith who have gone off. Alan Forrest, Nat Atkinson and Garang Kuol who are on. We've played just beyond the hour mark. Motherwell leading by 2-0. And they are heading that bit further away from the drop zone. I'm sure they won't be taking anything for granted, neither in this game nor in the relegation battle as a whole, but they are coming forward down the left hand side looking to get a third goal. Hearts through Toby Civic trying to clear the lines. Motherwell crowding round them and win the ball back, and it's Obika. It's a good game for Motherwell. holding the ball up, giving it away there to Barry Mackay, but they've won it back, and here's Furlong into the penalty area it goes. Civic clears Atkinson, and then not cleared by George Grant. Up to the captain Shankland, he can't keep a hold of it, hits the deck looking for a free kick, not forthcoming. Goss down the left hand side, he's fouled, and it will be a Motherwell free kick. Everything going the way of the home side right now. They're playing exceptionally well.
They've shown a great deal of fight that obviously wasn't there previously, but they've fought for every ball today.
And you said it earlier, that goes from one win, simply. You know, the last few days it's probably been as buoyant around the football club, training-wise, as what it's been in the previous 3 months, Craig. So it's amazing how something can just turn so quickly. And probably a little change of shape, but I think sometimes it's the freshness for players, as if it's something different for them in the game.
There's a new voice also as well in the changing room. That does make a difference.
Yeah, a lot of credit has to go to Stuart Kettlewell for the change in these Motherwell players, as Blair Spittle sends in the free kick left hand side. It's a great ball in, a brilliant save. The offside flag goes up. I think it was Dan Casey who got the touch only a couple of yards from goal, and Xander Clark somehow directed it over the top. It wouldn't have counted, or at least it would have been checked by VAR, but Xander Clark preventing the need for that with a phenomenal save. It's his second of the game, and but for him the scoreline could be a lot worse for Hearts. As it is, they trail by 2-0 as Nat Atkinson plays it straight out of play, and Robbie Nielsen down there is not happy with the way things are going.
I think that last opportunity, Kevin Van Veen may have been offside. He was the player that tried to make contact with the initial cross. I'm not too sure Dan Casey was. He may have timed his run right, but the referee's assistant certainly put it up right away. But we're at the stage in the game now, Craig, where the next goal determines how the game goes from here on in, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, Hearts get a goal, then we find out if Motherwell have got you know, underneath the surface, there are nerves. We can find that out very quickly if Hearts get a goal back.
It's Motherwell though in command just at the moment with 64 minutes on the clock. 2-0 they lead. Obika adding to Obika with the opening goal, and Spittle with the second right at the start of this second half, putting them in an excellent position, looking to move 3 points above 10th place Kilmarnock. They would go 5 clear of Ross County and 6 above Dundee United. They would stay in 9th position regardless of today's outcome. Here's Furlong's good play from him, left hand side, gets to the edge of the 6-yard box, tries a second time to squeeze it to Obika with the shot. Kingsley gets in the way, it comes in, the shot comes in, and it's just wide of goal from Max Johnston, looking for a second in successive games, and that was only inches wide of Xander Clark's right hand post. And Motherwell so far on top right now. Hearts need to find something.
I have to say, Motherwell are playing on instinct now, natural instinct, which when you're losing games isn't to take touches and make passes. It's just so fluent for them, but you always have to be careful. Yes, it's nice to be leading 2-0, but you can't write this Hearts side off yet.
I think 3-0 would have been enough though, don't you?
I certainly think so at this stage, as Snodgrass looks to thread a ball in for Forrest. Cut out though. Here's Atkinson, edge of the box. That's not too far over, but it is over. Always rising. And Nat Atkinson just on the field of play, couldn't find the target. And with 25 minutes left at Fir Park, it's Motherwell 2, Hearts 0.
Where do you sit with this theory, Craig, that 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline, particularly for the leading team? I'm not sure I buy into it, but this seems to be the theory in football. 2-0, oh, it's very dangerous.
I'd rather be winning 2-0.
Correct. That's always the answer. And it's always the managers or the supporters who are losing 2-0 that think it's a dangerous scoreline. Certainly not the ones who are winning.
Liam Kelly then to take the goal kick for Motherwell. Well over the halfway line it goes. Obika can't win it. Van Veen though does get the header. Civic, Van Veen's nicked it from Kingsley. Van Veen edge of the box, and Kingsley gets Civic gets back across to make the block as Van Veen lashed it towards goal. Motherwell can't make anything of the second phase of play. Johnson just runs it out of play. It'll be a Hearts goal kick as we approach the 3-quarter stage in the match, and Motherwell with a 2-goal advantage. It's Alex Cochrane over on the far side. Back into Kingsley. It is a back 4 now, as the guys were saying, as Hearts look to find a way of getting back into the contest. Civic made a really important intervention just a moment ago to deny Van Veen, and Cochrane just takes his eye off the ball. It bobbles over his boot and out of play on the far side, and that just really sums up Hearts' afternoon.
Well, you remember the goal at Sunderland, Liverpool, against Liverpool, when the ball hit the beach ball and went in the back of the net. That was something similar. Of course, it didn't go in the back of the net. I think it hit a carton and bounced over his foot.
It hit something, didn't it? Yeah.
Kelly clears over the halfway line. Van Veen is coming back from an offside position, so doesn't go for the ball, and it goes all the way through to the Hearts keeper, Xander Clark, who immediately plays it to Civic. Atkinson now, George Grant under pressure. Motherwell working ever so hard out of possession to ensure there is no way back into the game for the visitors, who have won both games against Motherwell so far this season. And I mentioned the 3-0 win here. It was a 3-2 fabulous game at Tynecastle, which had just about everything. George Grant sent off in that one before Hearts went 2-0 up. Motherwell pegged them back to 2-2, and then there was a Lawrence Shankland 89th minute penalty to win it for Robin Nielsen's men. Plenty drama here this afternoon as well, as Barry Mackay comes up towards the edge of the penalty area, out to Quall, back into the penalty spot, but it's a poor pass, couldn't pick out a teammate. Motherwell will give it away. Alex Cochrane on the edge of the penalty area, Shankland with the back heel, claims from the fans behind the goal that there was a handball used in there by Callum Butcher. Referee didn't spot anything. Play continues, and George Grant picks up just inside Motherwell territory. Now it's Forrest clipping it forward. It's a really difficult ball, from very straight through the middle, and Liam Kelly able to gather it. 68 minutes played. Motherwell 2, Hearts 0.
I don't know if Robbie's changes have worked at all. You know, I looked at the threat with the three that were on in the first half, and I still think that Humphreys had something to offer, but they seem to be less potent up front now than they were in the first half.
I'd imagine you're just trying to get a spark, Craig. You're hoping that an individual can make a difference and get a goal or produce a bit of magic, and then suddenly you get a pat in the back for making the tactical changes. But you're spot on. I'm not too sure anything's really worked. Nothing's changed for them.
Don Robertson just, I think, indicating he wants to check something. I think it's just the assistant on the far side has possibly got a problem with his communication system, so that's going to be a brief hold up, you would imagine. Ricky Lamy, the injured Motherwell defender, is in the main stand. He's just left his seat, but I'm sure he, like the rest of those involved with Motherwell here, will be delighted, Stephen Craig, with what they're seeing so far in this game.
Absolutely, Alistair, all day long. You know, it's night and day from what's been in the last 3 or 4 months, and that's not been critical of the previous manager. It's almost been critical of the players, because quite clearly they've been capable of what they're showing today. I always thought they'd been underperforming. In the last game and a bit have shown they have been underperforming. It's just it's the new manager who's benefiting from it, not the old one.
Here's Nat Atkinson in possession as the game gets back underway. We've got 20 minutes to play. Hearts looking for 2 goals to take anything from this game, as Cornelius knocks it all the way back from the halfway line to his goalkeeper Liam Kelly, who returns it into the Hearts half, but way beyond the Motherwell strikers. Kevin Van Veen is shouting back, I think, at Kelly, saying you need to take a bit off that type of clearance and give us a chance of getting hold of the ball. Here come Hearts through Kingsley, square to Civic, just inside his own half, out to the right hand side where Barry Mackay's pitched up and moves away from Furlong. He was pulled back, and it's going to be a yellow for Furlong actually, for his attentions there on Barry Mackay, and a Hearts free kick about 20 yards inside the Motherwell half.
What do you think of his performance, Craig? Barry Mackay, I think he's been
very quiet,
very disappointing. And I think too often this season he's been too disappointed, particularly in the early stages when they had some injuries, and you're looking for him to be the kind of spark.
He was last season, but I haven't seen it to the same extent this season.
It's funny, Stephen, I think a lot of people who watch the game, you know, would say the same thing about Barry Mackay. A lot of Hearts fans would say the same thing about his performances this season. However, I was reading an article that said, in terms of his numbers, if you like, his and the important passes he makes and so on, that they're still right up there. So although to the naked eye, just the kind of casual observer almost, if that's what you want to call us, that his performances haven't been as high as last season, he's still providing, you know, important role in the Hearts team, and I guess that's why he's kept his place throughout.
But do you not think then, season on season, you try and get better? So your aspiration should be to try and beat that from last season, because there's no doubt he's got great ability. He can glide past players. He's good with both feet. He should be getting goals. I just think when it comes to moments like this in the game, when you really need him, you're losing 2-0 away from home, can he produce that little bit of magic that can reinvigorate his own team and the supporters?
And also, there are other things that the stats don't cover, Al. You know, he's a brilliant ball carrier, you know, and that doesn't often get included in the stats. And for me, he takes his team, when he's on form, he actually gets free kicks round about the box, he gets penalties, and you know, for me, he's a flair player. And you know, the stats might say one thing, but I certainly believe he's not played as well this season as last season.
No, to be fair, that the article I'm referring to, and I can't actually remember where I read it, but it was taking things like that. Like, it was actually things like ball carrying and stuff like that they were referring to in terms of the importance to the team. But certainly I would pretty much concur with what you're saying, Stephen. It doesn't feel like he's the same player as he was.
Trust the naked eye, Al. That's what we always say.
There's a lot to be said for that, isn't there? As much as analytics are an important part of the game these days. Here is Barry Mackay trying to prove us all wrong, slips it through, looking for Quall, but Butcher slides in and knocks it behind for a Hearts corner. We've got just 17 minutes left on the clock, plus injury time. Hearts still trail by 2-0. The corner's quickly taken. It's Grant into the penalty area, but Cornelius there ahead of Atkinson. He wants the throw in, but it will go the way of Hearts. It's Mackay. Actually, it was kept in play, so it was immaterial. Here's Kingsley into the penalty area. It comes. Shanklin hits the deck. Shot comes in. That's a brilliant hit from George Grant, but it's straight down the throat of Liam Kelly, who holds on to it well, and it remains Motherwell 2, Hearts 0.
That's a bit better from Hearts, getting a decent cross into the box. Shanklin manages to chest it down to George Grant, and it was actually a wonderful strike. I mean, anywhere else other than straight at the goalkeeper, and there's a really good chance of scoring.
Ball's at the feet of Liam Kelly at the edge of his penalty area. Up looking for Kelly, up looking for Van Veen. It's beaten to it, and McGinn has to clear his lines out to the far side.
Good choice. I thought when it bounced he was going to try and head it back to the goalkeeper, but it was a long way back, and Quall was on his shoulder, so good defending Paul McGinn.
There's Cochrane, left hand side for Hearts. Quall looking to try and find that spark we've been talking about. The free kick actually goes in Motherwell's favour. Oh, throw-in, you're saying?
I think he's given a free kick, I think.
Yeah,
and he hasn't booked him for diving, has he?
No, it's just a throw-in. It looked to me like he was pointing for a free kick, I have to say, but no, you're absolutely spot on, Stephen. It is a throw-in. Robin Nielsen's waving. I think it's Oda is going to get the call from Hearts to try and come on and change things in the last quarter of an hour. But here's Van Veen striding forwards, challenging Sibic. Sibic just comes out on top in that particular duel. Van Veen giving everything for the cause. Grant steps away from him. The Dutchman endearing himself further to the home fans. His goals have clearly been hugely important to them, but his endeavour is also massive as Abika is charged to the ground by Kingsley and buys his side. A free kick midway inside the Hearts half, and that will just give Motherwell a little bit of respite. Not that they've been under the cosh as such, as we hear that the attendance is 6,450, and the vast majority of those, well, actually in saying that, there's 3,500 Hearts fans, so actually that means the majority are visiting fans. But let's go down to Brian McLaughlin, who's got news of another change.
Yeah, Yutara Oda is coming on. The player coming off this time will definitely be number 19, Alex Cochrane. It also looks as if there's going to be a slight change in formation as well, with a 4-3-3, so the three strikers up front for Hearts.
Spittle's free kick headed in, and it's another good save by Xander Clark. It was headed back across goal by Casey, and then a subsequent header came in, but I think again the offside flag's gone up. Is it, Stephen?
Yeah, the offside flag's up. I'm just interested. Robbie will be really annoyed about these situations. I think the last half dozen free kicks in dangerous areas that Motherwell players have got the first contact, and I think that from a Hearts point of view, that's dangerous. And you know, was it I think it was a free kick. Oh no, it was Van Veen that put the ball in, wasn't it, for the headed goal?
Yeah, from open play. Here's Cochrane just before he gets replaced at the edge of the penalty, gets the shot away. Kelly gets well behind it though. Wasn't enough power or direction for that matter in the shot from Cochrane, and Motherwell's 2-goal advantage remains intact as Yutaro Oda prepares to come on for the closing 13 minutes of the game. But Motherwell, I hesitate to say they're looking comfortable, but Hearts really haven't been able to offer all that much in this second period since falling 2 goals behind.
I think you're saying they've managed it well.
But here they come, Hearts. Shanklin almost in on goal. It's a brilliant intervention from Callum Butcher. He stretched every sinew there to get the challenge in before the ball broke through to Shanklin as the change is made. And off will come Alex Cochrane. Yutaro Oda coming on. It's an attacking change, which is exactly what's required. But what about that intervention there from Callum Butcher?
Yeah, could easily have put that in his own net. He really could. I mean, he was at full stretch, wasn't he? And he diverted the ball back past the goalkeeper, but luckily enough it went past the post as well.
But also Lawrence Shanklin is breathing down his neck. He knows if he doesn't get that touch, he's through 1-on-1, which ultimately would probably lead to a goal.
Corner kick left hand side. It's a poor one, easily dealt with by Max Johnston. Yeah, absolutely. Shanklin was in on goal had that intervention not been made by Callum Butcher in the Motherwell back line. But, yeah, he has looked good since coming in. As Hearts pick up left hand side. Atkinson looks to have moved across to that left hand side, at least for the moment, and it's going to be a Hearts corner to be taken by Snodgrass. 12 to play, Motherwell 2, Hearts 0. Hearts looking for a way back into the contest here as Snodgrass prepares to take the corner kick left hand side. Outswinger onto the head only of Sean Goss, who gets it clear as far as Atkinson. Atkinson trying to keep the ball in the Motherwell defensive third, but has to go back the way in the end to Grant, who's the deepest Hearts player for the moment. Mackay on the halfway line, closed down by Van Veen, out to the right hand side. Forrest infield for Shanklin. Shanklin tries to play Forrest back in. Spittle in with a sliding challenge as Motherwell about to make a change. Brian?
Yeah, Callum Slattery is the player coming on. The board went up actually and it said 2 zeros. I'm not quite sure who it is that's coming off, but yeah, Callum Slattery is definitely coming on for Motherwell.
Looks like is it Cornelius is getting the shout. So it's pretty much a like-for-like swap in the middle of the park. Just fresh legs, Stephen.
Yeah, it is. You know, sometimes when you start to drop deep and you are trying to protect your box, you maybe just need a little bit of an outlet. And Dean Cornelius, the one thing about Dean is he's super fit. You know, there's questions sometimes about his passing ability and his goal return, but the one thing he's got is great energy, and I thought he brought that this afternoon. At various times throughout the game, he was the trigger, he went to press, he broke play up. Probably a lot of his work is unnoticed because he does it really well for the team, and Callum Slattery has to come on and replicate that.
For the final 10 minutes, he absolutely does. He needs to give his all to ensure Hearts can't find a way back into the game. Mackay trying to force the ball into the penalty area. It's headed away, picked up by Grant, back to Civic. Midway inside the Motherwell half, forward for Oda. And out to the right hand side is Grant for Forrest, about 20 yards from the goal line. Forrest up against Furlong, back for Mackay. Mackay out to the right hand side once more for Grant. Feigns to cross, plays it infield instead to Forrest, edge of the penalty area, into the penalty area he goes, trying to get it across goal. Kelly will go down. Does he prevent that from crossing the goal line? Ron Robertson has a very close look at it, and between himself and the assistant on this near side, the side has stayed in play, and Hearts just can't find a way back into the game. 9.5 minutes left of the 90. It's still 2-0 Motherwell as Kingsley has to make the defensive header. Out to this near side to Forrest, back in field for Grant, midway inside his own half. Looks like Atkinson has gone across to play sort of left full-back effectively now, with Cochrane off the field of play. Now it's Civic, edge of the centre circle, up towards the halfway line. Van Veen just lets him run. Shanklin lays it off to Atkinson. Left hand side is Snodgrass. Snodgrass about 35 yards from goal now. Atkinson back to Snodgrass again. Left hand side into the penalty area, headed away by Butcher. Out to the Motherwell right, and Quall will just let that cross the touch line for a throw in. Hearts take it quickly. It's Atkinson back to Quall, but 25 yards from goal. Sweeps it in towards the back post, just too much on it. Straight behind for a goal kick. Music to the ears of the Motherwell fans, who with 8.5 minutes left on the clock still lead by 2-0.
I think when you look at both sides, Craig, with 8 minutes to go, you would think the better players or the better performers in the afternoon have probably came from the Motherwell side, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, I can't disagree with that at all. I think they've been excellent today. I really do, from the first minute, well maybe after the first 5 minutes, but they really grew into the game in the first half, and they've been comfortable. Stephen, they've been comfortable in the second half. That's fair.
Yeah, I think they've managed it very well. And Callum Butcher, I'll just make a note, Callum Butcher, I think, at the heart of the back three has been terrific. His timing, you can even see when there's a shot or a clearance goes past it, he's cajoling the players, he's getting after the players and driving them on. Something that Kenny McIntyre asked me about in Wednesday night about leaders, and they probably didn't have that. And I think they have that with his experience in the middle of the back three.
Another Motherwell change, Brian?
Yeah, Stephen O'Donnell is coming on. I'm not sure the Motherwell board is working because there's no board going up this time. But yeah, Sean Goss is the player being replaced, and Stephen O'Donnell coming on to just solidify things just a little bit for Motherwell at the back.
That's unusual for Brian criticising a board, eh? The Motherwell board's not working.
Good one.
Just when I'm saying that this has hugely surprised me. I know Callum Butcher is a good defensive midfield player, but I think he's more important in the heart of the back three than he is to be in the heart of the midfield. The midfield for me were coping okay.
Yeah.
So Stephen O'Donnell, not a natural centre half, not a natural middle centre half, a communicator. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I hope it plays out okay for the manager's sake.
Yeah, it's an interesting move from Stuart Kettlewell for the closing 7 minutes, putting Stephen O'Donnell at the middle of that back three and Callum Butcher stepping forward into the defensive midfield role. We'll just try and screen that back three, I would imagine. Callum Butcher, certainly it's a role he's played an awful lot over his career, but yes, it's just slightly odd, you would say, given that the back three have played so well, to disrupt it slightly for the closing minutes as they look to defend the 2-goal advantage. Snodgrass picks up for Hearts. Now it's Forrest out to the right hand side for Mackay. Mackay looks up, cuts inside, he's done well, he's away from Furlong, back for Forrest. Forrest looking to get room for the shot. Atkinson out to Grant. Grant now, Mackay, everyone passing the buck. Can they find a way through? No, they can't. It's deflected into the arms of Liam Kelly, and surely, Craig, they're just crying out for someone to take a ping and goal.
Yeah, Motherwell have got just about everybody behind the ball, and as you said earlier on, Stephen, the last 5 minutes they might end up getting forced back into the and for 5 minutes I think it's okay. I think they'll the way things are going, I think Motherwell should see this game out.
Just on the Stephen O'Donnell one, you think of many headers that Callum Butcher has won this afternoon, and when you think of Stephen O'Donnell you don't automatically think he's good in the air and he's aggressive, so I'm just a little bit wary of it, that's all.
Could be a master stroke by Stuart Kettlewell, you never know, as Max Johnston picks up possession. He's been pulled back there by Nat Atkinson. He'll get the free kick, and the Motherwell fans are loving this. Every little break up in play right now suits them to an absolute T. And I think Atkinson is getting the yellow card there for the pullback, and that suits Motherwell just fine. Van Veen's getting he's getting a yellow card because he just tried to prevent, a couple of minutes ago he tried to prevent Xander Clark throwing the ball out, and Van Veen also goes into the book for that. Don Robertson not forgetting that particular infringement. And I don't think he'll care too much about that, Kevin Van Veen, if they see this one out. 5 minutes to play, 2-0 Motherwell lead, and they've got a free kick in an attacking area, right hand side, to be taken by Spittle, who got the second goal, and will flight this one in towards the back post, and it's off the head of Alan Forrest and behind for a Motherwell corner, which will suit them just fine. 4.5 to play, 2-0 Motherwell.
And it's not just that Motherwell will get a boost if they manage to see this game out. It's Dundee United and Kilmarnock and Ross County thinking, they wouldn't have expected Motherwell to come and win the game, maybe get a point, but they certainly wouldn't have expected 3 points, so it gives them a little bit of breathing space possibly, but not a lot. But you'd rather be in Motherwell's position.
Definitely, yeah. The bottom three will just become a lot more isolated as Spittle prepares to take the corner. Left hand side's a good one. Van Veen got onto the end of it, but couldn't just get the glancing head he required at the near post to threaten Xander Clark's goal. Was behind for a goal kick, which is quickly taken. Motherwell 2, Hearts 0.
Yeah, another set piece where Motherwell get first contact, and it's a worry for me that Hearts aren't dealing particularly well with these set piece situations.
Motherwell on course, and I know they're fans won't want me to speak too soon, but on course for a third home win in the league, having collected just their second in midweek. The first one came against Livingston back in August, and now it looks like Stuart Kettlewell, in interim charge of Motherwell, is going to produce back-to-back victories here at Fir Park before they visit Kilmarnock next weekend in another huge game in the Premiership. George Grant picks up, slides it forward. Shankland, oh, it's a brilliant challenge in the penalty area to deny Oda, who's poised to pull the trigger. And it's a really vital challenge back there. And Oda, who just about prepared to pull a goal back for Hearts there, was denied the opportunity to do so. As Hearts pick up once more, right-hand side, Forrest trying to get into the penalty area. Was knocked away. I didn't actually see who made that. It was brilliant.
I mean, it's one of those ones where you look at the back of the net and then look to the stand as if the fans are about to jump up for the goal, and suddenly it was just a big right leg came and hooked it away.
Brian, another Motherwell change.
Yeah, Mr. Butcher's afternoon in midfield didn't last too long, because he's going to come off as Callum Butcher, and coming on replacing him is Bevis Mugabe, who I'm pretty sure will go straight into that back 3 or 4, whatever it is, for Motherwell for the last 2 or 3 minutes of this game.
Back 10, I think they're going to play for the last couple of minutes. Yeah, Callum Butcher, he's done brilliantly. He's not played a lot of football actually since October. He was freed by Burton, and Bevis Mugabe, back from injury, will come on and replace him for the final couple of minutes. He's given it absolutely everything out there, Callum Butcher. And Blair Spittle also being replaced by Danzaki for the last couple of minutes as well. And another man, Stephen Craigan, who's given absolutely everything. Really important contribution by Blair Spittle.
Do you know what? I thought he was terrific on Wednesday night as well. I felt so often he was the one that set the tone. He set the tone, particularly in the first half. But he's also a good technical footballer, Blair Spittle, so I thought he was excellent. Brilliant play by Kevin Van Veen. He's round Civic and he's charging forward down the left-hand side. Motherwell have 2 players in the middle. Kingsley cuts out the cross at the expense of a corner. With just a minute of the 90 left, Motherwell have the corner and they're leading by 2-0. Do you know what? Kevin Van Veen, sometimes you watch him and you look as if he's not interested or he doesn't fancy the game. And even throughout moments in this game, he looks as if he's disinterested. Then he picks up the ball and travels 40, 50 yards. He's got a deceptive change of pace. I used to have that, Alistair. I was slower than what I looked. But he's got a deceptive change of pace and suddenly takes Motherwell 50 yards up the pitch. If Stuart Kettlewell or whoever the next Motherwell manager is can keep him on form, keep his appetite there, Motherwell will climb away from trouble.
No rush for Motherwell to take this corner kick. 30 seconds of the 90 minutes left. It's Furlong to take, left-footed from the left-hand side. Swings it into the penalty area. Mugabe's up there, it's over him. Snodgrass gets the first header this time round, but it breaks the way of Slattery. Helps it back into the box, and it'll end up in the arms of Xander Clark. Dan Casey tumbled to the ground, claiming he was impeded, but there was nothing really in that, I don't think, and Hearts will come forward. But it looks like this game is way beyond them. They'll have a free kick over on the left-hand side as we step into 6 minutes of stoppage time. Can Hearts somehow claw their way 2 goals back into this game? It's looked unlikely, certainly, but never say never, as it's given away in the middle of the park cheaply by Slattery, but he wins it back for Motherwell. And Kevin Van Veen complaining that he just wants the ball to feet. It was fed down the left channel, and it's out of play for a Hearts throw-in into stoppage time. We are, and Hearts trail by 2-0 at Civic at the edge of his own penalty area. This would be another massive 3 points for Motherwell if they can hold on. And Hearts, I mean, I think Craig, you said it before the game, they have clearly been the 3rd best team in the Premiership this season, but they're only 5 above Hibs. If the scoreline stays this way, as Mackay sends it back into the penalty area, it's headed away, and Hibs are on decent form. Would they be looking over their shoulders slightly now?
Yeah, I think you have to think they will be looking over their shoulders. I mean, this is a poor performance, and from the levels that Hearts themselves have set. You know, I'm being overly critical, I don't think, because the standards have been very, very high.
Yeah, they've fallen short of those today, I think that's fair to say, as the ball is out for a goal kick to Motherwell. And the Hearts fans who had travelled in such good numbers, are beginning to trickle away from the stand across behind Liam Kelly.
Sorry, Al, I would say on that, the flip side of that, yes, Hearts have been at their best. Motherwell have maybe made them uncomfortable. However, I think it's the basic errors of Hearts not winning headers in your own box. You know, misplaced passes. There's been 4 or 5 times passed the ball out of the park on the post. So that's the small things you can get at. But in general play, I think Motherwell have certainly put it up to them.
Absolutely. No, you've got to get massive credit to Motherwell for the performance this afternoon.
Yeah, I wasn't, you know, when I was talking about Hearts, I wasn't being uncomplimentary at all to Motherwell. I think they've been fantastic today. I really do.
Would you back Kettlewell then to get the job, Stephen?
Do you know what he's done? He's put the board in a really awkward position, because if they've decided to go for someone else or have their eye on someone else, he'll be giving them second thoughts. I mean, you see the change of the players. As a board, you're thinking to yourself, they have a little bit of momentum, they look as if they're enjoying themselves, they're working hard. Why would you change that and go with someone else coming in, which may take 2 or 3 weeks to get up to speed of what he wants?
I wouldn't.
Could you come to an agreement where he gets it at least till the end of the season and then they review it then?
Absolutely.
He certainly has done nothing wrong in his couple of games in charge. We'll see how that materialises over the next couple of days as Danzaki goes down and buys his side a free kick in a good area, 35 yards from goal, and Motherwell are seeing this out pretty comfortably. There's 3 minutes left of injury time. They still lead by 2-0. Kevin Van Veen wanted to take the free kick quickly to Danzaki, and the referee will pull that back. Wants it taken again. He hadn't finished drawing his various lines in the turf.
I have to say that's as far away as Danzaki's been from his interpreter all afternoon, because I've never seen an interpreter take part in the warm-up, and he did.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
He did. So it'll be interesting to see how close he is to the touchline to try and keep it. Even at half-time, he was on taking part. So I know, you know, clearly you need one.
Free kick's taken. Furlong swings the ball into the penalty area. Hearts will pick up Kingsley. 2 minutes left on the clock as Hearts look like heading for a rare defeat. It'll just be their second in 14 games. But apart from a really good start to the game, they haven't really been at it, and they've given the ball away again. And it's Max Johnston who's once again been terrific down the right-hand side. Just can't get beyond Grant, and Hearts pick up once more.
He's much harder worker than his dad, was he?
I'm glad you said that. Barry Mackay taken out of play by Furlong, who's on a yellow card, and even though we're deep into stoppage time, we just have to be careful. Josh Ginnelly found to his cost a couple of weeks back that officials will show 2 yellow cards regardless of how far into injury time you are. In very quick succession they were shown to him by Nick Walsh, and that's why he's missing today. Motherwell have got the free kick though, and they are, I think we can safely say now, heading for the 3 points with a 2-goal advantage and just a minute left on the clock in injury time. And Stuart Kettlewell down there at the edge of his technical area has successfully guided his side to 6 points from 6, 2 home wins from 2 to reverse the dreadful form that they've been in, particularly at home. It's just going to be a 5th home league win since the turn of last year. Here's McGinn for Johnston, edge of the penalty area. Quall trying to slow him down, and it takes a nick off a Hearts player, and Xander Clark picks up. But we've got just 30 seconds left here at Fir Park, and Motherwell good value for the 3 points this afternoon. Ultimately Hearts just haven't offered enough, as Oda links with Quall down the left-hand side. He can't do anything with it, but he's won the ball back. Left-hand side of the penalty. Is there a consolation even for Hearts? Not on this occasion. It'll break for Atkinson. 35 yards from goal. Hoists it forward. It's a terrible ball for Mackay. And the Motherwell fans with the ironic cheers as the ball drifts out of play. And Don Robertson brings the game to a close. It's another massive win for Motherwell under Stuart Kettlewell. Hearts not at their best this afternoon, you'd have to say. Motherwell excellent, and goals either side of half-time. The first one 6 minutes before the break from John Obika from close range, diverting a Sean Goss shot past Xander Clark in the Hearts goal, and then just 20 seconds after the restart, Kevin Van Veen's delivery into the box was diverted onto the post, and on the rebound Blair Smittle smashed it into the net for the second goal, and that was enough for Motherwell. Lawrence Shankland had a couple of shots, one of which, a header in the first half, came back off the upright. Kingsley clipped the bar with a free kick in the first half as well, but ultimately Hearts didn't offer enough as an attacking threat and weren't able to get back into the game at any stage, and it finishes at Fir Park. Motherwell 2, Hearts 0.
Motherwell versus Heart of Midlothian.